Good evening. Welcome to the Joliet Junior College regular meeting of the Board of Trustees dated June 26, 2024. Karen, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Broderick?
Present.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Present.
Trustee Harris?
Present.
Trustee Lee?
Present.
Trustee Mahalik?
Here.
Trustee Morales? Here. Trustee Queenie?
Present.
Trustee Bazinski?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Item 1.1.3, we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight I want to welcome one of our students that was in the adult education graduation last week, Brenton Bishop, who will lead the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brenton. Item 1.2, communications. Kelly Roder Tonelli.
Good evening, everyone. As we conclude Pride Month, we thought it was fitting to highlight the blossoming partnership between our LGBTQIA+ employee resource group and student club with the Joliet Pride Network. Here with us tonight is Jeff Gregory, who's the board president of this nonprofit organization, to share a few of the things that we've done together over the years, including the World AIDS Day drag show here on campus and the Joliet Pride Network Pride Fest, which happens each September. The Joliet Pride Network is an organization committed to creating safe spaces and fostering diversity. By day, Jeff is the owner of Realty Executive Success in Shorewood. He's been a resident of our district for 21 years and was elected to serve as the JPN board president in 2019. So with that, I welcome Jeff to the podium.
Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many familiar faces at the dais. I appreciate giving the time and the partnership that you all have had with Joliet Pride Network. Obviously, a passion project for me. I'm sure many of you do things in a not-for-profit capacity, right? It has to be a passion project, otherwise, right? But again, thanks. Again, the Employee Resource Group being at our Pride Fest for 3 years in a row, that is the most consistent presence that we've had by any organization. That means a lot to us. And working with the student group last November for the drag show was absolutely amazing. And our performers thought it was so cool to be on a campus and have that event too. So, and it was very well run, I might say. We would just love to brainstorm with any of the members of the ERG or the student activities group or both to say what can we do to impact the community even better. It's certainly a win-win relationship for all of us, right? As a not-for-profit, we look for time and we look for people's money or both. And anything that we can do to help people further our mission. One of our latest projects is trying to find short-term housing for members of the trans community, because in Will County, as much as our homeless organizations are amazing, they're good if you're an L, they're good if you're a G, they're good if you're many other letters, but they struggle with the T, and we can all just do our best. I love our organizations that help homelessness in our community. We just need to add to what they're already doing, and so that's one of the projects we're working on lately. So thanks to all of you for all that you do, not only for your organization, but for others, and helping us feel like that we matter and that we're doing a good job. It means a lot. So thanks to all of you. It's good to see you. And I hear that these meetings tend to go a little long, so I won't make them go longer. Thank you all so much.
Item 1.3, recognition of retirement. Mr. Morris, if you could come to the podium, or are you going to do it in your chair?
I can do it right here.
Okay.
Yes, Chairman Bazinski, trustees of the board, members of the JJC community. This evening, I have the opportunity and the honor of recognizing 4 JJC retirees. The first is Debbie Alberts. After 18 years of dedicated service as a resource assistant at the City Center campus, Debbie is embarking on a well-deserved retirement journey. While we're sad to see her go, we also celebrate her remarkable career and the countless contributions she has made to our team and JJC, including assisting with the community and corporate services seminars and many projects at the Renaissance Center. Her colleagues describe her as being very accommodating and helpful to staff and students, and she is the first face that people saw when they entered the City Center campus. She always represented JJC in a very positive way with her kindness and knowledge of JJC. We wish her the very best in the next chapter.
Becky is here this evening. We can recognize the retirees maybe after the meeting.
Okay. The second retiree is Diane, better known as Dee Dee Brancheski. After over 26 years of service to JJC, Dee Dee is retiring as an adjunct instructor in the English, Philosophy, and World Languages Department. When asked at the department's retirement party why she had chosen to retire now, she replied because she could and because she didn't want to grade another paper. Dee Dee joined the English adjunct faculty in 2014 after retiring as an English teacher with the New Lenox High School. During her time with JJC, Dee Dee taught multiple sections of English 101 and 102, preparing students for college-level writing by always balancing high expectations and high standards with a constant willingness to help students achieve those standards. The department will miss her frankness, her sharp sense of humor, and her willingness to serve the JJC community. Third this evening, we have Yoko Wenberg. After 15 years of service to JJC, Yoko is retiring as an adjunct instructor in the English, Philosophy, and World Languages Department. Her colleagues noted that it was both an honor and pleasure to work with her. She is our Japanese language instructor. Throughout her teaching career, Yoko demonstrated professionalism and unwavering dedication to her students in the college. She loved teaching Japanese and sharing her culture with her students. She brought a warmth, kindness, and positive attitude to the classroom every day. Furthermore, Yoko's impact on JJC and its students transcended the nourishment she provided in the classroom. JJC's most popular study abroad program in Matsuyama, Japan, continues to thrive due to Yoko's efforts. She has left an indelible mark here at JJC. And finally, Professor Desmond Masterson. After 9 years of service to JJC, Professor Masterson is retiring as a professor in the Health and Public Services Department. We would like to recognize our esteemed orthotics and prosthetics professor, whose career has been a testament to dedication, excellence, and an unwavering commitment to the field of orthotics. As an orthotics genius, he has inspired and educated countless of students and has been a beloved mentor and influence. His influence will continue to resonate with both past and present students. His efforts have been pivotal in maintaining the professional standards of the program, ensuring its success and integrity. We express our deepest gratitude for his invaluable contributions and wish him all the best in his well-deserved retirement. Thank you, Chairman.
Would any of those in attendance like to speak?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunities and thank you for the opportunities. I thoroughly enjoyed all my years here, and working in the culinary department is the best.
Thank you very much, everybody, and I'm sure I'm supported by all the staff, all the people, very happy and nice, and a very good year. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Three minutes, and then I'm gone. But thank you to the Joliet Junior College Board of Directors and President Numuo for recognizing my retirement. And thank you for the college for always supporting the student-first philosophy, which is the primary reason I came here to Joliet Junior College. But there's several people I'd like to recognize that made my experience here rather remarkable. And the first is Michael Brenzick, who's the former director of the program, who started this program as well. He's the finest example of somebody who's positive and who's professional. Over his years, he worked at the national level in our profession. He worked in education and as well as research. And while he was developing the program here at Joliet Junior College, he was also moving the Northwestern program to a master's level. And at the time, a new program called, or a new format called blended learning. And it's one of the primary reasons that I came here again to work here at JJC, and also helped me to get an example of what it's like to be a professional and to be positive at all times. Next is Melanie Brosman, who's the secretary for the technical department. I don't know how many times she bailed me out with emails regards to nudges, reminders saying, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that, where to find forms, how to go through purchase ordering, and the list goes on and on and on. And I'm indebted to her for the support that she gave. And probably most importantly is Laura Kottner, who is my office mate for the past 9 years. She's the professor for architecture, engineering, and construction. And I don't know how she found the time, but she always had time to answer my questions about how to do annual program updates. Shivers. Or how to go through curriculog and submit curriculog changes. And just any question I had, she was always responsive and she was always supportive, and I'm going to miss her dearly. And then next is Alicia Brennan, who's the future program director for our program. She was an alumna of our program. She was excellent. So when they were looking to replace me, because I was moving into the director position, she called and asked if she can meet me because she didn't know whether she should apply or not, which is probably one of the most silliest questions I've ever heard. I said, yes, of course you come in here and you want to talk to me. So short story is she was hired and she's been nothing but remarkable in regards to how quickly she picks things up. In her period of time, she's picked up a master's in business administration. She's already initiated physical changes to the program as well as programmatic, all in regards to making the students' experience here cost less and take less time, but still maintain college accreditation as well as professional accreditation. So, and last but not least, the students, which is, again, I never got tired of the learning, of sharing the learning and teaching experience with students. Something I never got tired of. And the neat thing about students when they graduate is they become colleagues of mine, and we have a small profession. So students that I've had even 10, 20, 30 years ago who are now clinical directors are now having our students come to them for their clinical rotations, which is most rewarding and kind of completes the circle. So as we like to say in Hawaii, mahalo and aloha.
At this time, I'm calling for a motion and a second to accept the recognition of retirement of the
I'll motion.
Second.
voice vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Item 1.4, the next item is Chair's request for closed session for discussion under 2C1 personnel, 2C11 legal, 2C2 unions, and 2C8 security.
So moved.
Second.
How long do you think we'll be in session for that?
Approximately an hour.
Do you think it would not be better to move 1.4 down and let 1.8, since we have these people online and all these people here, and let them get the reports out, and then they could be able to leave? And then we could go into closed session then after that?
Board?
We can move forward.
Okay.
Item on the, it's for the first closed session.
I'm not opposed to moving it because they tend to,
Yeah.
executive sessions go a little bit longer, so.
Do we do a request to make a modification?
Do we, you need a request to change the agenda?
Yes, you need a motion to amend the
So
agenda.
on the floor is a motion to change the agenda, moving 1.4 to after 1.8.
Second.
Trustee Morales, you made the original motion. Are you in favor?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen, you seconded?
Yes.
And did I not make the motion to have it changed from 1.4 to 1.8, or 1.9, 1.8?
I don't think you motioned.
Okay.
Are we ready for a vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 1.6, public comments. Karen, do we have any public comments tonight?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Item 1.7, moment of silence. Dr. Namuel.
Thank you, Chairman Budzinski and members of the board. I'm asking the college community to join me in a moment of silence for the following individuals. Renee Ruddy, mother-in-law of Jennifer Ruddy, in Records and Registration. Henry Zekin, father of Dennis Zekin, a tutor in our Tutoring and Learning Center. John Fenlon, father of Dr. Julie Delfinato, professor of English and World Languages. Dr. Jim Etheridge, retired after 30 years as professor and department chair of Agriculture and Horticulture. Charlene Barber, grandmother to Jake Barber, technical analyst in our admissions department. And Mary Lou Smith, mother of Claudio Bohanic, an administrative assistant to the dean and associate dean of arts and sciences.
Can I add one more? The former mayor, Raymond Rossi, who was a big supporter of JJC and the community, and a former judge. He passed away yesterday.
Thank you, Dr. Newell. Item 1.8, selected reports. 1.8.1, ERP, Dr. Yolanda Farmer.
Okay, so I'm going to take a moment to pause because I know you're noticing I have a different voice right now. I'm really supposed to be resting my voice, but I have to do this presentation. So I want to say good evening to everyone once again. Good evening, Chairman Bazinski, trustee of the boards and the JJC community. Once again, I come to you to provide an ERP update for the college community. Probably one of the most important projects that we have here at Joliet Junior College. So, trustee of the board, I want to remind you that you continue to make some exceptional support for the college regarding our ERP restart. Most importantly, I just want to recap that you have approved several financial support mechanisms for the college to really support this process. So tonight, I do want to share with you that we're going to provide an update, but also there are 3 important agenda items that we will highlight for you as well this evening. So as a reminder, trustees of the board, we have some very clear guiding principles as we move forward with our ERP. We made a commitment to the college community, including all of you, that we will continue to be very transparent and communicate, sometimes over-communicate. We're going to continue to honor the employee's voice, those who are closest to the project, and we're going to talk about how we've been able to honor them. We're going to continue to leverage the talent. We have a great partnership with Campus Works. You will have an opportunity to meet our new project manager for our Workday project. And last but not least, we're going to continue to face challenges. This project is a heavy lift, and we have some barriers. I'm going to talk about some of these barriers tonight, but I will tell you from a college standpoint, we're going to face these challenges with confidence because we have the support not just of the board, but also of the executive leadership team and also of the college community. So quickly, board members, if you recall, we have a very strong project governance structure that continues to move forward to support our project. We have a cross-functional team of individuals who really support and work across the college community, really breaking down those silos and support for our students. So today, I would like to introduce you to some individuals. The first person I would like to introduce is Brian Snow. I think most of you recall that Dr. Deb was originally our Workday project manager. Now she has decided to continue to work with Campus Works. She's reduced her hours, and now we're working with Brian Snow. You will be very impressed with his credentials. I requested for him to share just a little bit about himself. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian just for a quick introduction. Brian, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Farmer. My name's Brian Snow. Is my audio working okay?
Yes, you are clear. Thank you.
Okay. I started off my career in the classroom, in the community college classroom. So have some background there. Eventually got into administration and had the opportunity to implement an enterprise system with the college that I was with. Eventually, I joined Ellucian and have been working in the private sector, working on enterprise systems for about the last 20 years or so. Have very much enjoyed working with everybody at JJC and look forward to the success of the future. Thank you, Dr. Farmer.
Okay, thank you so much, Brian. I think most of us all remember Lisa Richardson, who is our SAS project manager. Lisa, just wave because we know you. All right, thank you. The next person I would like to introduce you to is someone that works at Joliet Junior College. She's hardworking, she's dedicated, and she's courageous. I spoke with Dr. Namuo about some of the heavy lift that we have to do for this project, specifically related to the student development area. And I said to him, I would love to hire a fellow, someone who's really smart, someone who understands student development. So instead of going through like hiring and all of that, we decided to hire a fellow. A fellow is an opportunity to provide leadership opportunity for someone that we know that will continue to rise and do good work. Oh, listen to that. That was a strong voice. At Joliet Junior College. So at first I was not going to bring her to the podium, but I have to. I want to introduce you to Erica Reyes, Dr. Erica Reyes. She will be working about 50% of her time closely with me with all the projects that we're implementing at the college to really support Dr. Namuo's ambitious agenda. So Dr. Reyes, you want to come up just to say hello?
I wasn't expecting to come up, but good afternoon, evening. My name is Dr. Erica Reyes. I've been at JJC just over 5 years, and some of the areas that I help oversee here at the college, testing services, the tutoring and learning center, as well as academic intervention, communication center, and welcome desk. So I have the pleasure of working in student development under Dr. Stephanie Brown. But a little bit of my background, I actually came up through TRIO, Upward Bound, working with students, and then I worked at Wabanzi for about 6 years. And I manage their placement and testing area, and I've had the pleasure to work here. So I'm excited about this new venture, working directly under Dr. Farmer, and excited to be part of the project. And of course, as you mentioned, it's a heavy lift, but I'm here for it, and the success of the institution. So thank you for having me tonight.
Yeah. She's truly a rock star, so. Now, another person that continues to work very closely with me is Dr. Christopher Huswinkle. So moving forward, I'm trying to pull him up to present with me, not just because of my voice, but that's part of it, but to empower him as he moves forward as the interim CIO. Dr. Huswinkle?
Well, thank you for that. As you remember, we've been live with Workday for a few years now, so HR and finance in particular. And with the work that we're working with Brian on is 8 individual projects. We have some regular tickets and questions that come up, but we have 8 specialized projects that we're working on to update or modernize Workday for our needs. And they include accessibility work, making sure that the interface and everything with Workday is fully accessible. Account and security review, making sure that we have the right security for users who access the system. Activity pay, making sure adjuncts get paid and other special pay initiatives. Cashiering, making sure we can connect the system so that we can accept payments. Credit card consolidation, grants, storefront, and then travel expense. So these are the big projects that we're working on with Brian's help, in addition to the day-to-day work within Workday. This is a timeline, you've seen it before, but a timeline of the colleague work. So the colleague ERP, and I'd like to draw your attention to 2 different things, or 3 really. If you look at the top where it says today, there's an arrow pointing at June. So you see all the stuff that we've done prior to today. We've got a lot of accomplishments, we've got a lot to celebrate, but there's a lot after it as well. And if you follow down to where we're at now, you'll see that we're in the mix of data cleanup, There's a huge amount of work to clean up data to move from colleague on-prem to colleague SaaS, and it's no data that is somewhat corrupted in some cases. Sometimes we were using a field for something that it shouldn't have been used for, or in a different way. So it might have held 5 characters, but we were putting 50 in because we needed something to do that. Well, none of that will work when we move to colleague SaaS. So we have to clean that up and decide how to modify and massage that data so that it becomes SaaS compliant. So all of that work is happening along with, if you look down a few lines, there's a line that talks about business processes. There's some things that we have to review, how we do things to make it work within SaaS. So we can't say, well, we've always done it that way, so let's continue. We have to make some decisions to make sure it'll get into colleague and work within colleague that ask us to look at the processes we do. Graduation's a prime example. We have students apply in Maxient right now. We can do that right within colleague. So that business process has to be evaluated. We need to look at that. So it's a lot of discussion, not only with IT, but also the stakeholders in each of these departments, admissions, registration, financial aid, and others, to make those decisions. And it's not as easy as we think. It takes a lot of conversation, a lot of courage to decide what we're going to do or how to change those processes. In early May, we saw Lisa. She waved at us before on the screen. Lisa was here on campus for 2 days and held a road mapping session. And that session was very productive in the outcomes that it produces. And you can see the 4 that are listed there. Team building, the group could come together, they could express their thoughts, their voices were heard, they felt, people left that meeting feeling, oh, they heard me, they know what my concerns are, and we could work together. Collaborating and idea sharing. If you look in the bottom picture there, you'll see little white poster boards stuck to the wall. We had a lot of idea generation and breakout and small group work. Ultimately, that group work turned into, if you look in the top image, there's that kind of long banner. That's the timeline or the project workflow, as it says up there. So people could leave that meeting with clear expectations of where the project is, what's coming, how it will evaluate or go forward, and what their role in that is. So again, that road mapping session, we loved having Lisa here in early May. Look forward to her future visit.
Lisa, would you like to say anything about the road mapping session?
Hi, Dr. Farmer. Hi, Chris. I would like to say that everybody at JJC did a really great job participating. And this is one of the few places I will tell you that the executive sponsor sat in a roadmap session all day with the team. And that really, really makes a difference and shows the support.
Thank you, Lisa. And we'll have to have you talk about Bucky sometime. And so the last slide I want to talk about, then I'll hand it back to Dr. Farmer, is some big wins that we've had recently. So data cleanup work, you saw or heard me mention that on the slide before. We said about 59.3, so 60%. You have allocated some funds for us to not only have Lisa and Brian on staff, but Joe and Juan, our consultants with Campus Works, and are really helping us do this data cleanup work. So we've done a lot, 60%, something to be proud of, but we've got to make those hard decisions now, that those business processes that I mentioned before, that's going to be the next good chunk of that 40%, and it's probably going to take the most work. So we're ready for it, we're going to do it, but we have to celebrate that data cleanup and where we're at now. Alchemy, at last month's meeting, we adapted them as our ticketing and project management service for Workday, the 8 projects that I mentioned before. This company is helping us do that work. So again, another big win, something we can celebrate. And then we're also doing a higher digital survey. Susanna Rowland has led that effort, and the end goal is to get that feedback from the college community so that we hear everybody has input into the process, and we can act on those recommendations. So shout out to her. She's done a lot of work along with Mary June Schulte, who sent the emails. to solicit that input. But that, again, will give our constituents the voice that the project deserves. Thank you.
So before I move to that slide, I really want to take a moment to highlight some of the big wins because the data cleanup, we have over 7 million data points that we have to clean up. And board members, I think you all know we have a legacy system. So before we can migrate and move into SaaS, we have to move into SaaS with clean data. So it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And once again, we want to thank you for your support, for supporting the additional technical support that we needed to support the IT team. So thank you for that. So, trustees of the board, of course, I'm going to talk about some of the barriers and the courageous conversation that we need to have today. So if you recall, in February, we did the restart. It was a restart. And Trustee Robert is laughing already because she and I have had conversations about this in the past. It's a restart, and we've done a good job with the restart. Now we have to start moving into optimization and implementation, 2 systems. And then once we move there, we're trying to modernize, and that's by June of 2024. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. If you recall, I shared a budget with you. That was our initial budget for the restart. Trust me when I say that I'm going to come back to the board, full transparency, because as we continue to dive deeper into this ERP restart, we're starting to recognize that we're going to need more support. And some of that support is for technical barriers. Some of the support is for human capital resources. I know on the agenda, and I'm just looking at Trustee Broderick, I know Lisa V was on the agenda, but we need that support, even if it's for the interim at this point. Also, change management, huge. How we did things in the past is not how we're moving forward as a college community. And I'm looking at some of the college community leaders here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for pushing it forward, because we could not do this without you as well. And then the financial investment. Trustees of the board, thank you for your financial investment. You know, we have a contingency budget, but that contingency budget is not going to meet our needs. Just being completely transparent with you tonight, Kiso and I have had conversations. I've had conversations with Dr. Namuo. I've had conversations with Campus Works. This is a lot, but we're moving forward, and we're moving forward with confidence because, once again, I know that the board, if you recall, I shook everyone's hand when we first started talking about this. And I hope you will continue to support us on this journey, because we're going to get there, but we need to get there together. And that's the end of our presentation for today.
Thank you.
Yes. Any questions?
I
Yes.
have some.
Yes.
I'm glad that we're with Alchemy. I was at CLC last night.
Yes.
And the CIO up there says they're working really good with them, so that's a big plus.
Yes.
My concern and question is that was mentioned is regards that we've got Workday working for the finance and the payroll and all that.
Sure.
If there's a problem with those 2 areas, do we have Campus Works that will, or any of our project managers that will work, that they can resolve any issues with that?
Well, that's what they're doing. That's a part of the optimization project.
So that's the optimization.
So that's, remember, Dr. Oswego mentioned 8 major projects, and I can share that with Dr. Namuo, and he can share it with all of you. It's a little bit more of a deep dive, but that's what we're here to really help us to optimize Workday, some of those challenges that we've seen
But for
in
the
the past.
most part, you find those 2 segments that are running fine, correct?
Well, I won't say they're running 100% fine.
Well, that's what they're supposed, I mean, that's what Workday is supposed to be the best in,
Yes.
with those 2 segments.
Yes, and in terms of HR, you know, I'm looking at Judy Conley. I know she's very pleased with Workday from a HR standpoint. I think there are some opportunities, that's the best way I would couch it, for the finance team. Kissel's like, yes. And that's why we've identified those 8 projects to optimize Workday 100% so that we are 100% pleased with the project.
With the optimization,
Yes.
do we need to look at other products to be brought in
Oh, there's
to
a
help with the further establishment of those to work better.
You're speaking my language. So
Well,
when
I'm
I said,
familiar with this because of being
Yes,
banking and everything,
yes.
so we had to always bring.
So, I mean, we're exploring other opportunities. I mean, you'll hear from the student development team about the need for a CRM, you know, in terms of expanding and communicating and really supporting with students, supporting students. Look at, they're all like, yes, 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 from a enrollment standpoint. So I'm saying today, trustees of the board, we had the restart, but we will come back and have some additional conversations with the board about the need for additional support and the additional technology.
Great. And in regards to this SAS side, which is the student side,
Yes,
are they having any problems right now with registering or doing anything? Because I always look to Ryan, our student trustee, to see if he's having, are we
Right.
talking to the students to see if there's any concerns that they're having right now with what's happening? And I don't know if Ryan wants to speak of that.
yeah, right,
So-
yeah.
So I know right now I've been able to register for my fall
With no
classes
problems.
for the semester online, and that when I took summer classes, I'm registering online for those. I'm not having to really go in at the time. I know we've been talking about advising, making sure that we're having that set up for people who are going for advising, but the online portal I have found since we've switched from the previous system, since I started back here in 2019 when we didn't even have Workday. Everything was Colleague and Ellucian then, I believe.
Yeah.
And so seeing now how it's been running for registration, it's working well. I think there are a few small things that we need to look into with it, but overall it's been just a great system. And now you can go in, add, drop classes, and you can do your entire planning for your time here at JJC within that portal, and that's been really wonderful.
Thank
and
you,
that's the
student
feedback
trustee Ryan.
we like to hear.
Thank you.
So thank you, Ryan.
Yes, absolutely. I think you'll hear from the, yes.
If I can add to that, Tim Rossler, who's our Director of Enterprise Applications, visits him and his team, student life, student life with Amy Sims, and receives that input. She solicits that probably, or he does, probably quarterly. So they're intentionally going to the students because we want their input on the design. Is something easy to find? Is navigation working well for them? So I know it's at least happening quarterly.
Yeah, because users are the best ones to detect
absolutely.
what you need to do for improvements or whatever. And with the follow-up of the cleanup, could we have had this a lot better if we had done the data updates before? Would that have helped? Or is that just something that wouldn't have
So
helped?
I'm gonna point of order. We're starting to troubleshoot the solution that they're in the process of implementing. Let's just go back to asking questions related to her presentation only and not ask questions that are, in 5 different directions. And I'm looking at honoring employee voices. Let's give her a break and not drag this out.
And honestly, I couldn't respond to that question in terms of data cleanup. I'm not your technical expert.
Thank you for answering my question, so.
Yeah. It's okay. Anything else from Anita? Okay. Thank you.
I have
Thank
one
you.
just comment,
Yes.
real quick. So I know, thank you for the presentation, very informative, and I know this is challenging. What happened, why we're here today, and
Yes.
everything we've gone through, and hitting the restart. And I don't think that by the Department of Education changing the FAFSA format,
Oh, yeah.
I know that's been a nightmare for everyone across the country, not
Yes.
just for us. So
Yes.
any extra support that we can offer the financial aid department,
Yes.
I know they lost a staff member
Yes.
not too long ago, and they're probably a little short staffed. So anything
Yeah.
we can do to help them
Yeah.
would be very
Yeah.
highly recommended, because I know that that's a lot of work on top of this whole
Absolutely.
system that we're doing right now.
Yes, and Deanna Hogan is just phenomenal. And I'm going to take a moment to thank Lisa because she's worked very closely with Deanna. I mean, we have great PMs. And so thank you, Lisa, for your support. But Deanna has really moved us forward. We're ready, right, Bob, to support our students.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, 1.8.2, brand and perception follow-up report from Kelly Roeder Tonelli.
All right, good evening again. Ooh. There we go. So it's been a minute since I was here talking with you all about this last. The last time I presented to you was back in January and talked about some of our findings from the study, the brand and perception study that we completed in 2023. And what I first want to say before I present anything else is my thanks to you all for the amazing questions that you asked the last time I was here, your investment in this work, to my cabinet team who's had to listen to this incessantly but is supportive and helping us develop the work and plan and the direction that we need to go, and the over 500 employees that listened to a version of this presentation and gave us their feedback. So we have a lot of investment in this project, and what I can tell you and what I'm about to share is historic, and it's going to be transformative for the nation's first public community college. So with that, the next couple of slides are going to be hopefully a review for you. Think about it if you started a Netflix season and the show hasn't premiered for a year and you got to watch that recap to remember what happened. That's what these next 5 slides are going to be. So as a reminder, with this work, we hired Simple Truth, which was a firm excellent to work with. And what we did was survey both qualitatively and quantitatively 500 individuals in 6 different demographics, which you see on your screen there: alumni, parents, current students, Spanish-speaking individuals, business owners, and the general public, to gauge their perceptions on Joliet Junior College. The important thing that I mentioned in January and that I want to mention today as well is that, we've often, and we do often, and it's important to work with national benchmark data. This is the first time the college has local, real-time data about what people who live in our district think about JJC. So what were the key findings? Again, I shared this in January. This was so affirming because a lot of times we say this through anecdotal experience, but now we have the qualitative and quantitative data to support those anecdotal thoughts. And so what are they? Well, parents top the list of influencers of students' college choice. Across all of the JJC audiences, the 6 demographics that I mentioned in the previous slide, everyone's goals are focused on specific career pursuits. And thirdly, there are concerns with attending college, and most of them revolve around how much it costs and how much debt an individual might need to take on by taking on the initiative of going to school. The other major finding that we learned was that there's a disconnect between people who are not affiliated with Joliet Junior College think about JJC and what people who are already connected to our community think. And so what I mean by that is by taking the key findings that you see on the screen, which were all taken from people who have already, or surveys that were taken from people who are already engaged, current students, alumni, parents of current students, is that they believe this is our value. This is our unique value proposition to our district, to our students, and to our partners. We're diverse, we're personalized, we're flexible, we have good quality programs and courses, and we're community oriented. Those who are surveyed rather, who are not familiar with JJC, have not gone there themselves, have not sent a student here, recognize the value of a community college, but also perceive JJC as slightly less than a 4-year university, and we'll get into the reasons why for that. Now we're getting to some of the most compelling data that we learned, which again we shared in January. Surveyors asked each respondent, how does the Joliet Junior College name contribute to your perceptions of the college? And as you'll see, amongst each of these 4 groups, prospective students, parents, current students, and alumni, the majority responded neutrally. we have a real opportunity there because these are individuals who don't think anything about us right now. And we have the ability to shift that into a positive connotation and relationship. We can build unity and expand our reach. So to build on this further, again, across all groups, there was a substantial portion who felt that the name junior negatively impact perceptions of the college and community. The name Joliet is a little divisive in how it contributes to our college's perception. And just the name or the word college primarily is positive, which I think we can all make that presumption that that's true. So in short, the names Joliet and Junior impact our brand and people's perception of this college. So the biggest recommendation, to shift our name from Joliet Junior College to JJC. While we'd still retain the name Joliet Junior College, all primary references would be JJC. Removing junior can signal a shift towards a more contemporary image. This can help attract and retain a wider range of students, including those who may be deterred by the perception that a junior college offers lower quality or limited opportunities, which I know each and every one of us in this room knows that that's not the case. Shortening the name to JJC is easier to communicate. It's a refresh and offers us an ability to reposition the college in a strategic way. And frankly, this flexibility is valuable for adapting to changing demographics, educational trends, and market demands. So we talked about using JJC as an acronym and the fact that it's simple. Well, look on the screen. There's a lot of institutions that are very well known only by their acronyms. They've retained their original name, but they are broadly known as ASU, UCLA, NYU. I would even offer that these are household names. Can anyone tell me what TCU stands for? Good, good, okay. So they're household names, they're easily recognizable. Plus, we're already doing this in a variety of ways, and the images that you see on your screen here denote that. Most importantly, JJC still reflects our identity and our history. We're not losing that history. All right, so with that in mind, the refresh of the focus group results plus the survey results, here's our action plan. What are we going to do about it? We're going to reimagine our logo. And it's top secret because we don't know what that will look like yet. And we'll do that in FY25. Number 2, we're going to create consistent communication throughout the college. Now, let me tell you, we try very hard, and we do that every day. But part of this amazing data that we were able to collect really showed us more specifically how to communicate with each of those 6 audiences that I previously mentioned in ways and with language that resonate with them. And this is through a variety of platforms. This is social media, this is commercials, this is billboards, this is television commercials, this is snail mail, it's everything. Third thing, we're going to enhance our digital front door, the college website. This will allow for new technology options along with brand refresh elements. We plan to do that in FY26. Recommendation number 4, refresh our facility signage. That's recommended to start in FY27. And this would be, again, just a transition to the updated acronym in a variety of places to build brand consistency throughout our physical campuses. So what's the timeline for all of this? Well, I've already provided a review, came to you in December and shared some of the initial findings. You'll see the dates that we made presentations across campus to students and employees. And then our conversation and presentation here today, June 26th. So FY25, we plan to hire an ad agency to help develop and lead the work in a new logo, the brand refresh, which would include the transition to using the college's name as a logo, and help us develop that communication plan for those 6 distinct audiences. Again, as I mentioned, in FY26, we would implement this rebranding most considerably not through just collateral that we're already creating, but through an entirely new website redesign. And then in FY27, implement changes that we all agree to, that we think are appropriate and important to our facilities. So with that, I thank you and ask you if you have any questions. I also have Robin Ballard. Where'd she go? Hi, Robin. You want to come up for a minute and say hi? Robin's, as you'll recall, is our Director of Marketing and Creative Services and has been managing this in the day-to-day and been doing a most incredible job. So with that, do you have any questions?
I have one.
Yes, Trustee Broderick.
Being that the name, not that we're changing the name, but we're going to initials, does that have anything to do with us not being the first community college again? Because that was a concern that was raised when other colleges were looking at name changes. And we talked about that a couple of years ago too, about name change and where it would put us. Is there anything that would dampen or do any damage to us for not still being number 1?
I would say no, just because, and I think that's the beauty of this solution. I think when we embarked on this work, we were really excited, but also kind of frightened that the data and results might take us that way.
Right.
And truly, an objective third-party source came in, talked to 500 people, gathered all this data and said, actually, you're kind of already using this acronym, lean into it, embrace it. So no, I don't think that would engender a loss of status.
Okay, because that's what I was concerned about.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I think a lot of people refer to it as JJC anyways. It's okay, but this is a big undertaking. Do we have a idea of budget-wise, how much we're planning on spending, or is that looking down the road a little bit? So.
You know what, it's looking down the road a little bit. What I can tell you is that in FY25, when I talked about hiring the ad agency, we are absorbing that cost, so there's no additional cost for FY25. We've got an RFP kind of drafted and ready to go. FY26 and 27, when we talk about a website renovation, obviously facilities, refreshes, we would need to consider that, and we would come back to the board, obviously working with Karen and Pat and the facilities team to figure out the most appropriate way to implement that and the most cost effective.
One other question. Because we're going to be changing it to initials, make sure we put in the cost of renovating signs and all the name changes that would have to be up, because I think that's going to be all over where you see Joliet Junior College all over the place.
Yeah.
So that would be something I would think that, we should be concerned about too.
That's what I was thinking about too, so.
Yeah,
Every sign coming in this place, you're gonna rebrand it JJC, you're gonna have to change that sign to JJC instead of Joliet Junior College, so.
And we will come, think of it this way, it's almost like an à la carte menu, okay? We can take an assessment, and the team has already started doing this, looking at different spaces, especially when you're talking about the physical facilities, about what would make the most sense. It's not feasible to change everything, but perhaps, here's an example. When you come in to our main campus on Olympic Drive, there's that beautiful limestone facade with Joliet Junior College on there. Perhaps we change that and it just says JJC. That's an example. I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, but it's like an a la carte menu. We can pick and choose.
You're gonna spread it out a little bit, you're not gonna do it all in
Yes.
1 year, obviously, so,
Yes.
which makes sense,
Yeah.
so.
And that's intentional. And if you look at, other institutions who have done this across the country, this is a multi-year plan. Particularly
I was
with
just
this.
gonna say, just talk to Jeff, make sure he puts in the budget somewhere, so it's good, so. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your support.
We will not have a 1.8.3 faculty union report tonight, but we will move on to 1.8.4, the adjunct faculty union report from Laura Disco. You're up.
Good evening. Nice to see everyone. I do have one thing to report to you tonight, and that is that the Adjunct Faculty Union held elections this spring. And this will be my last presentation to you as Adjunct Faculty Union President. I'm going to be taking a half step back. I'm going to be Vice President, so I'm not going to be gone. And the new president will be Barbara Wilhen. Sorry. She is also a chemistry adjunct, and we're going to be working closely together on a number of things. So starting August 1st, we have this realignment, and she will be here for these reports most of the time. You may see me occasionally if she has conflict, but that's going to be our arrangement going forward. Before I finish, I want to thank each of the board members. You've been very supportive over the years of adjunct faculty and the work that we do here, and I appreciate that very much. I also want to thank Dr. Namuo and the administration for having a productive and collaborative and respectful and all those good things, working relationships with the adjunct faculty union. I appreciate that as well. And with that, I will conclude my report, and thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Item 1.8.5, Building and Grounds Committee Report.
Okay, Ryan, you ready? Okay, go ahead.
So, lots of exciting things happening on campus, around campus. The first thing that we talked about today was the replacement of the switchgear in B and in B building and the transformers, and that is done, which is wonderful. I'm very glad to hear we're moving along with that. Then also with the AHU replacement in G building and E building, it is, I believe they said they finished on the second floor
They
with
said
it.
the second floor of G building is done. The first floor is going smoothly. And they said, I believe is what we said, refresh me, Matt, is it, or Pat, is it that we're gonna add a couple more, since we're moving so smoothly, we're gonna add a couple more rooftop units too, possibly, moving forward? Is that what we said?
I don't think we talked about it. Oh. Yes, and that's,
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thanks for adding that in, so.
yes. So then the next thing is they replaced the crack unit in the IT server room, which is the computer regulating AC unit.
That's what crack stands for, right?
Yes.
Okay. We had a bet. I have to say crack one more time because we had to say it 3 times because this is the last we're going to hear about the crack unit. So.
But there it is. They are along the process of still, I believe, demo with that and getting it to started. Then they also are replacing the boiler, and those are all just moving along smoothly. Then also they finished the H building stair tread replacements today, which is fantastic. Very happy about that. Then we also heard that the pavement project, which I'm sure many of you saw when you drove in today, they finished the pavements in the parking lots. Then the facade repairs will also be finished by next week, I believe. And then by next summer, they talked about having finished having the new H building HVAC units replaced. And then facility service also had some other projects they were working on, including the A building testing center HVAC unit, which they have finished putting in, and that is done. And they also are still working on, but almost complete with finishing the lighting replacements for, they finished C, D, and E building. I believe they're finishing up G building still. G building, and then they're going to be moving to the outside lights to replace those. Then the vet tech, which I know we all voted to approve the vet tech expansion or the addition for the extra kennels. They are underway with those, and that's going along smoothly. And then they are looking to hopefully start putting out some bidding for the mental health space on campus in the next week. So to hopefully have a board action in September for us.
And there is one more thing that the B&G committee would like to cover.
Yes.
I have, you guys were not, they're actually, were we able to put those on the screen, Karen, or do we have that stuff? If you guys notice when you're walking here,
No, I can pass
there
these
is
down.
lots of different furniture stacking up in the hallway.
Pass these down.
And we can pass these, I can pass these down too, yeah, we can pass these
They're
down.
on the screen. Some pictures.
They're on the screen?
Oh.
They're all on the screen, so these are waiting for our board approval tonight to say we can get rid of them. So the B&G committee was hoping that we can, I know that's up, this policy's up for a second read for disposing of property tonight. They're wondering if we can make a slight adjustment to it, which would allow them to get rid of stuff that's out of useful life or broken. And they would report to us at the board and let us know what, I think this would be done
Yeah,
quarterly
it'd
for
be a
reporting.
quarterly report of what they got rid of that was
And
past
got
its
rid of,
useful life.
so we can see what's going on. Just this, as you can see all these pictures, everything's stacking up and these are beyond useful life and we can't sell most of these. They tried to go out to the market to sell these and these are things that
They don't have.
they would not buy from us, so. Yeah. So we have a slight suggestion. I'm gonna make a motion to see if we can amend that tonight. Michelle, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I'll read the motion when we get to that point, so, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes your report?
That concludes our report. Ryan flew a solo most of the way today, so that's good, so.
Item 1.8.6, Board Policy Committee Report.
Due to the fact that I was in a car accident, I had to cancel. I wasn't able to make it to the policy committee meeting, so we are working on rescheduling that.
Sorry to hear you're in a car accident, Michelle. So.
Item 1.8.7, Finance Committee Report.
We did not have a finance committee meeting this month, so.
Okay.
They did most of the legwork last month with the budget, so.
Okay.
Good, so.
Item 1.8.8, the President's Report.
Chairman and trustees of the board and the JJC community, thank you. I've got a couple of things as my slides are popping up here. First of all, I want to welcome Dr. Reyes to her new role. Dr. Farmer, I'm not sure if she mentioned this, but Dr. Reyes is also a fellow of the National Community College Hispanic Council. Just finished that up in addition to completing her doctorate degree. And I'm really excited about what she and Dr. Farmer will do together. I've got a couple of things, and Trustee Morales kind of made me think about the fall semester in regards to FAFSA and how that, the challenges associated with the rollout. I want to share with the board some enrollment numbers. Of course, I don't think we should take these numbers for granted, but for the past couple of years, they've been very positive, and summer was no exception. Summer headcount is up 4%. Tuition credit is up 11% compared to last summer, which means students are taking more classes once they're here, whether they're swirling back from their university classes and coming back and taking some classes at JJC. That's most likely the case. But a really interesting set of numbers. Now, we are, I would say, nearly half of our enrollment is in today for fall semester. We normally generate about 100,000 credit hours for the fall. About 50,000 of those are in. But an interesting phenomenon as we remain cautiously optimistic in regards to how the FAFSA rollout is impacting or will impact our final fall enrollment numbers. I might even say I'm optimistic at this point, but I'll still keep the word cautiously there. So fall headcount is currently up 18%. And that's just credit. Those are just credit numbers. So those are very encouraging. Tuition credit is up 5%. So a little bit of a reverse phenomenon there from summer to fall. Our number of part-time students is growing for the fall semester. I could theorize that students are also waiting, right? So as Trustee Morales has pointed out, the FAFSA rollout and challenges, students may be signing up, they may not be signing up for their full course load. So I'm interested to see if the tuition credit numbers will catch up with the tuition or with the headcount numbers. Does that make sense? So 18% increase in headcount for the fall so far, just a 5% increase in tuition revenue. Wanted to just give a series of healthcare shout outs. For me, this was sort of a healthcare month as I connected with Kenneth Rose, the new CEO of University of Chicago Advent Health in Bolingbrook. I want to also congratulate Michael Mudderer, who's the new president and CEO of Silver Cross. And I might add a proud JJC nursing program alum. So I had a chance to connect with Mike over the last month or so. And I want to send a welcome back to the community to Barbara Martin, Martin, Ascension St. Joe's, coming back to the community and assuming the CEO role at Ascension St. Joe's. And she's also invited me to serve on their board. So I look forward to working with Barb and some of the other members of the community. So healthcare. And I've been resisting sharing this, and I'll probably resist sharing the details, but I provided a teaser last month and showed you a really cool logo for our Future Wolves project. The point of Future Wolves is to grow our kids' college apparatus, not only to celebrate the partnerships that we have with our local elementary school districts, but really to grow interest in college at a very young age. We're seeing tremendous growth in kids' college as a result of Future Wolves. Again, I want to give a shout out to Christy Mulvey, who's listening online, to Escortina Irvin, who's seated right here in the front row. And as I promised last month, I will provide more details on the Future Wolves initiative. And there's a camp coming up in July, the Future Wolves camp run by Christy and Escortina. And we've got some really promising numbers to share with the college community in August. And Convocation will be a celebration of our youth, of our childhood. For many of us, we'll have an opportunity to go back to that childhood. The Future Wolves initiative will give us that opportunity. I'm being vague on purpose, but for the college community, we're going to do some really fun things at Fall Convocation. And of course, as usual, the Board of Trustees is invited to that event. I want to thank Karen Kissel and her team, Jeff, Daryl, Anna, everyone in finance for the way they went about creating and crafting our budget. I want to thank Trustee Morales and Trustee Mahalik for their partnership and service on the Finance Committee. I want to thank the executive leaders who have to say no a lot more than they have to get to say yes to present you with a budget that supports our strategic priorities, and of course the budget managers out there as well. So that's a big item before the board today. Last night, some of us drove back from Carbondale. If any of you have been to Carbondale, that's not a quick drive. Our flight was delayed because of the weather in and around the Chicago area. So we made a strategic decision to drive back after delay. So we made our way back last night. I just want to commend the team that joined me, those that stayed here to ensure the efficient operations of the college. Thank you as well. Just want to send a special shout out to Chancellor Lane, Austin Lane, the Chancellor of SIU Carbondale. Thankful for their vision to prioritize community college students, to grow that part of their enrollment, to create the supports necessary for our students. As many of you might remember, in February, we signed the Saluki Step Up Articulation Transfer Agreement Partnership, and we're down there to solidify some of the details of that partnership. So shout out to SIU Carbondale. Anyone with SIU connections in the audience?
I have two brothers that went there.
Okay. I've got
They're
something
Salukis.
for you under here.
They're Salukis.
Trustee Broderick, I've got a gift from SIU.
Oh, wow.
You'll have to choose. Choose who you're going to give that to.
Brothers.
I have a niece out there too.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Okay, we have more of these. We'll look.
It's okay.
Karen Kissel's.
It's okay.
Want to thank Tiana for joining me again. Just highlight, another special partnership. Boys and Girls Club had their inaugural 5K right here on campus. As some of you know, Chantel Gamboa, the new CEO of the Boys and Girls Club, is pictured on the left, and our very own Kelly Roeder Tonelli is chair of the board. So just want to commend them for a great event. It didn't seem like an inaugural event. It seemed like a well-oiled machine. So well done to the Boys and Girls Club. Picture to the right, I'm with Brian Durham. And again, I want to thank Deputy Governor Torres. As I've participated in the P20 Council, I've learned so much about some of the challenges that our K through 12 partners are facing. This particular summit held at Moraine Valley in Palos Hills was about learning renewal, which I suppose is a euphemism for children who are emerging from the pandemic into endemic times, and really how online learning being thrust into that environment is affecting them long term. So just a series of really interesting conversations around learning renewal. Thank you to the trustees who joined me at the Morris State of the City event. Another fantastic event out west, just there to celebrate our important partners with the city of Morris, and you see Mayor Brown there right in the middle. Thank you again to some of the trustees who not only posed for a picture, but were active participants on stage handing out diplomas and recognitions. For those of you who were there to celebrate with us, just a lot of really inspirational stories, a lot of grit, a lot of resilience. And this year, we had a series of videos that were presented. And I understand they'll be published somehow, some way. Just a lot of great stories here. So I want to congratulate the team in adult education for putting on such a fantastic event. I also want to take a moment just to acknowledge the presence of Councilwoman Susanna Ibarra, District 5, and State Representative Harry Benton. If I get his district wrong, Harry, I apologize. I believe it's District 97. And last but not least, you should have in front of you a chapter that was written by myself, by Kelly Roeder Tonelli, and Dr. Farmer. And there are several really interesting parts of this video. One of the parts is actually of the history of Joliet Junior College. So Kelly Roeder Tonelli recounted the history when the board at the time considered a name change, I think 50, 60 years ago, and had some quotes, some things that were considered at the time. Just really interesting to kind of know that conversation was happening even way back when. And some of you are wondering, all these different initiatives that are emerging. We took the opportunity to write a chapter in a book called Narratives and Strategies of Effective Leadership in Community Colleges. And the chapter is really all about the design thinking process that we've been using over the last couple of years to create and implement major initiatives. And Chairman, with that, I'll yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. We go back to item 1.4, Chair's request for a closed session for discussion under 2C1 personnel, 2C11 legal, 2C2 unions, and 2C8 security.
Excuse me, Chair. Do we need to move 1.5 also in order to return to public session,
Yes.
as that's an action item before
Yes.
we go in? Okay, so motion to amend the agenda to move 1.5 to after 1.8 as well, and 1.4.
So,
Second.
Trustee Morales?
yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Buzinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And now I need the motion for the closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Trustee Broderick?
Aye.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Buzinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Continuing on, item 1.5, I need a motion to return to public session.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Here.
Trustee Broderick?
Present.
Trustee Garcia Guillen? Here. Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Present.
Trustee Buzinski?
Here.
Motion carries.
Item 1.9.1, approval of minutes for regular meeting held on May 22nd, 2024.
Second.
May I have a vote, please?
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Buzinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 1.10, approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I would just like to make note of 4.3, board approval of legal counsel for the college at the last meeting. Just a note that we approved additional legal counsel at the last meeting.
Take the vote, please.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No, and the reason I'm voting no is because I asked for 2 agenda items to be put on it, and I got no communication back other than they weren't putting it on. And that was for the confirmation of Robin Schwartz as the legal firm, and 2, for the reimbursement of myself against the, for the JJC trustee governance for the main 91111 account of 550000 that has a balance of 18,000 in it.
I think we're approving the minutes from last month right now, not the agenda.
Trustee Harris?
No, it's on the agenda. That's what I asked to have it on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Lee?
No.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Buzinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 1.11, approval of consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second. I would like to pull 3.6 and 3.7.
I would like to pull 4.1.1.
I would like to pull 2.11, 2.12, 3.23, 3.24, 3.2.14,
We're ready to vote, please.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Buzinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 2.11, is it 2.1.1 or 2.11?
2.11, 2.1.1.
2.1.1. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
My concern is this: we've had no evaluation done yet of the results. 2, the ICCB, when I talked to the CEO, said that the only thing that needed to be corrected on that of any concern, which is what happened with the College of DuPage, was the severance issue. Nothing more, nothing less, until they review it in September. And the issue on the long-term, short-term is things that could be taken care of during the summer and taken care of and left. That is not anything that will affect our recognition with the ICCB. And Brian and Marcus from the ICCB, the CEO and the one who goes over the contracts, was very specific. And anything that that's added to it, according to the other presidents in Illinois, there's 48 or 47 of them that are with 4 years only, use it or lose it. So I will not be giving any golden carrot in this one at all, because that's what, if you vote for this, you're giving a golden carrot, and I will not take any financial responsibility for voting yes.
I am also concerned that we are adding vacation days to, per the ICCB, as was already previously stated. The only thing that is needed to be changed out of this contract is the fact that we offered too much severance pay to Dr. Namuo, and that needs to be changed per Illinois state law. The only thing that needs to be changed. The options of giving him more vacation days before the presidential evaluation, as well as a buyback option, is effectively giving him an increase of his salary, and I also do not agree with that, especially before the presidential evaluation is through. So I definitely also have some concerns about this.
And I'll state one more thing. The prior president, who was here 29 years, she got 4 weeks. That was it. 4 weeks, and that's what all the presidents said. 4 weeks, use it or lose it.
And, you know, with conversations being had that we're worried about them taking that whole month off, and that's why we're even thinking about giving them a buyback option, why would we be giving more vacation days? It just seems a little contradicting.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
We are.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Is this where I could make the motion? My bad. Yes.
Trustee Lee?
No.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
You guys just gave him a golden parachute.
Next item.
Item 2.1.2. Need a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
Discussion?
The concern I have is the buyback again, because as stated to me by all the presidents and the chairs, there is no buyback for the top 2 people. I'm concerned about that, and there's not enough vacation, there's not an identification of vacation time written into the contract.
Additional discussion?
I think we're basically lining up our 2 highest executive officers of the college with everybody, every other cabinet member and staff member, and giving them the same benefits that every other staff member in this college receives. So I'm fine with that.
Every other staff member doesn't have as high of a salary as they do, and that's why they're afforded those other options.
Are we ready to vote?
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
No.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item, is it 3.214? Is that what you have? 3.21?
3.2.3.
3.2.3. 323.
I have 3.2.3.
Okay, and then 3.24, and then what was the next one?
3.2.14.
Okay, so 3.2.
You can combine those for me too.
We have to take votes on them separately anyways.
So this is 323?
We need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I wanted to make, and seeing the green sheet, I'm glad that I'm seeing that 6 BEP certified vendors applied and were notified, and 21 BEP vendors were notified on the 3.2.4. That became a big issue because right now, the ICCTA is dealing with all sorts of issues regarding the BEP program. And this is a big issue that has come across the whole state of Illinois, and they are trying to get resolution with it. So I'm glad to see that we are at least looking to have BEPs apply. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We're ready to vote, Karen? And this is for 3.23, correct?
Yep.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Gann?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 3.24, bid for refurbished C-arm.
So moved. Second.
And I'll just repeat, I'm glad to see that 21 BEP certified vendors did register through the college's website to bid on this.
Any additional discussion?
We're ready for vote.
Okay.
Trustee Garcia Gann?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 3.214, sole source Workday Consulting for Human Resources.
So moved. Second.
My concern once again is, after listening to what they said up here tonight, the HR and the finance seems to be doing well, and they have the resources. We don't need the babysitting resource to come back in of Lisa Villalobos. I thought that was, when we made the motion last time to do it, that for this past year, this was it. June 30th was it. So I don't feel comfortable adding another $35,000 or $36,000 to this at all. I think if we have Workday people that are there, we need to utilize them.
I think we've heard a very detailed presentation from Dr. Farmer on the complexities of what issues we've been dealing with Workday. And as we dig deeper, we're finding other things that we have to find solutions for. And all of this is part of operations, and all of this is going to require financing for the support that our staff needs. I think it's very well justified, and I think this is getting into the operations, and it's something that's needed. So I support it.
Ready for a vote?
Any other discussion? We're ready for a vote. Vote.
Trustee Garcia Gann?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 3.6, resolution to transfer funds from the Education Fund to the Operations and Maintenance Restricted Fund.
So moved. Second.
Why don't we get to discuss why I pulled it?
We're going to.
That's what,
Yeah.
That's the next one.
the motion was first. We have a second by Trustee Morales.
Discussion?
Why are we moving first of all, why are we moving funds from the education fund to the operations, maintenance, and restricted fund? Why are we doing that?
Chairman, if I may, Karen Kissel, go ahead.
Sure, if there's a balance per policy 8.1.7 fund balance, if there is a balance over a certain dollar amount or a certain percentage in the education fund, we transfer it out into the operations and maintenance fund. This policy was reviewed on March of 2023.
So it's just an overage and it in the education fund, and it at the end of the year when we do the budget every year, it goes into that.
Correct.
Okay.
This is common in all school districts too.
I
know. I'm just
Right.
letting you know, it's not just here. It's, if you don't use it, and this is something that
You don't use it, you
don't
lose
use
it,
yeah,
kinda.
So I'm just saying, it is common from all the way from K all the way up to college level here, so it's.
Do we have a dollar amount? Because last night at the CLC meeting, I saw them put dollar amounts in these things. Do we have a dollar amount for this?
Do we have a dollar amount that we move?
Yeah, that we're gonna move, because you say here, 25% of the following year's budget revenues, the fund balance was increased to 30% due to it. And the recommendation is to maintain the reserve at 30%. I don't know what the dollar amount that is we're gonna switch over.
We don't have it yet because we haven't closed the books. At this particular point, we don't have it yet.
You don't have it yet?
No, we haven't closed the books yet to do all the calculations. We still haven't finished the fiscal year. So this just
When
allows
will
us
you
to
have the
transfer.
number?
After we close the books, so sometime in mid-July, early August.
Is there a limitation of how much you would be transferring?
We have to keep 30% in the education fund, so. Go ahead.
I can't hear you.
30%.
We have to keep 30% in the education fund, per board policy.
We would not reduce the fund balance percentage as it currently is compared to next year's budget. So we're a little over 30% fund balance. We would, in our budget next year is planned to be about 5% higher. So we'll let some surplus fall to the bottom line so that percentage doesn't decrease. And then the rest is what we've done for the last, like Trustee Mahalik said, for years, transferred over to O&M restricted to be used primarily for capital-related items on campus.
No, and I understand that. I'm just looking for the dollar amount, because that's what I'm used to seeing. I mean, when I saw it last night at their meeting, I was like, where's ours? So, you know, when I'm looking at both of these numbers.
We went to this wording so we'd have, because it's sometimes hard to estimate exactly what you have. So we could say we'd leave not reduce the fund balance or the percentage, and anything else will transfer. And then in the August write-up for the year end, when it comes to the August board minutes, what the financials will reference the dollar amount
So
that's transferred. Yeah.
July 1st, you'll have that number.
No.
I'm just joking. So, no, I understand. So, no.
You helping close all weekend?
Maybe. So,
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We're ready to vote.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Pass.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 3.7, resolution to transfer funds from operations and maintenance fund to the operations and maintenance restricted fund.
So moved. Second. Discussion.
Same question. Why is it being moved? Is it the same answer?
For the policy.
Any other discussion? Karen, can we have a vote, please?
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 4.1.1, sale or disposal of college property, college personal property. Second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I pulled this because the D&G committee would like to amend this motion if possible. We'd like to amend it to include, it should be able to sell or dispose of personal property as long as it is beyond useful life or broken with board approval. And the board approval would be coming, it would be a report would be submitted to us quarterly for this, so.
Yeah.
And I think, as you guys have all seen on campus, there's a lot of furniture lacing the halls, and those are all outdated things we gotta get rid of, but we gotta wait for tonight's board meeting to say we approve it. So that's why we wanna make this amendment to the.
I
to the
don't
policy.
agree with, I didn't understand that you wanted to amend the motion for us to be notified quarterly, as I don't agree with that.
Well, we could, quarterly would be good, but I mean, they'd prefer what, if you wanna do monthly, that's fine as well, so.
I would prefer monthly.
So, is that okay with the, you guys? Okay.
Sure.
So what is the revision to
Well,
your proposal?
wait, why, so they're gonna be able to sell and dispose of things before they even bring it to us for our approval?
If it's worn out.
Well, it's beyond
If
useful
it's
life
not-
or
It's
broken.
done, if it-
Okay,
the
so
definition-
only with the clause that you just read?
Yes,
Right.
yes,
And then they can, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so, and
There's
it's,
nothing that's gonna have any life to it.
Right.
You know, and I told them the only one that would have ever taken this stuff is my grandfather, because we took a whole bunch of Silver Cross stuff and it was sitting at the warehouse. And when Silver Cross finally moved out, my dad said, take that stuff with you too. So.
Okay, monthly and
And this,
with,
and this is not these chairs, these are like wooden chairs, plastic chairs, something that it's just beyond useful life or something that, it's just monthly with good, so. I'm gonna shut at that because we're gonna have a long meeting the rest of the night, so I'm sorry for talking past my time.
Trustee Mahalik, would you make a motion to amend the motion and then please state the language for the record?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to amend my motion or.
Amend the
to-
approval of
am-
13.1.
Amend 4.1.1, 13.04.00, to include, or not include, but should be able to sell or dispose of personal property as long as it is beyond useful life or broken with board approval, coming monthly.
Is there a second to the motion to amend?
Second. Ryan.
I have a question in regards to
It's okay.
process.
Is that okay?
So what we're asking for is for us to be able to dispose of it or to sell it if it was broken or beyond its useful life prior to the board meeting and present you with a report after that sale or disposal has been completed. So on a monthly basis.
Why would you
with
want to
this the
sell it if
entire
it's not,
time.
if it doesn't have any life left?
We try to sell everything we can unless it's broken.
Yeah, that's.
We try to sell everything.
Yeah, they try to sell it in the secondary market first. If they can't sell it, then they dispose of it.
I prefer the policy how it's written, and we've been back and forth on this policy. It's been back and forth too, and now we're changing it last minute without even being able to read it. I am not comfortable with this personally.
No, can we motion to take it back to the policy committee then?
Yeah. We can, because I would like more time. I'd like to see it in writing, written down, and I really I prefer that I've already told you the issues. I don't want to have to come out in public and if you guys want me to tell you the issues that we've had with one of our third-party organizations where I think it is critical that we be able to look at the sale and disposal of the stuff. It's not everything in the college, you're right, but this policy doesn't just apply to the college. It also applies to third-party different organizations, different things that we're dealing with. As college property, and so that's why I've been so serious about that.
I would like to move to postpone this matter until the next board meeting, until the policy committee has a chance to review and rewrite it.
So take it back to policy.
Take it back to policy. I'll make that
Attorney,
motion.
I have a question for Attorney Copeland. We currently do have an existing policy. All of the things that are being backed up in the J building, can we deal with those items?
Oh, that's already approved tonight.
That's already, okay, all right, cool, thank you.
Tonight's approval, so-
Thank you.
So
Okay.
this is all stuff that's going out now,
All right.
so this is just moving forward.
How
So
long has that stuff been sitting in J building?
This gentleman next to me walks by it every single day, so he can tell you a long time.
So which things are we talking about sitting in J building? 'Cause
Well,
there's
all
a
of the
lot.
pictures of the stuff, I'm just wondering if it's been sitting there backed up,
So-
why couldn't we have brought it to the board to try to get rid of it before this meeting? If it's been there for months, I mean, we have monthly meetings. To me, it could have been brought to our attention and said, hey, we have all this stuff sitting here, we need to get rid of it. Sale and disposal, it could have been put on the agenda a lot sooner. And so this just seems like, kind of like, oh, well, it's been sitting there because we haven't notified you about it. So now we're gonna put in this new policy that says we can get rid of stuff without your approval because we've let it sit here for so long and not told you about it and not brought it to the board's attention. And I just don't like that.
Perfect. I agree. That's why I moved that we postpone this matter until the next board meeting, until you have a chance to review. So
I
do
think
have-
Karen wanted to say something, Kissel?
Most of the items have been staying there since May. We needed to wait for
Yeah.
classes to
A
complete.
lot of it's
We
from
have
the seat.
640 event center seats, 75 cabled and classroom chairs, IT surplus equipment. You'll see in board agenda item 3.8, what is either we're disposing of or auctioning of that's currently sitting in the hallways waiting for us to be able to replace it with the newer equipment if it needed to be replaced.
And that's just been since May?
Since May.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, so
Correct. We need
we have a
a second
second.
to that motion.
Second.
And then before you proceed, prior to this, trustee Mahalik, you made a motion to amend. Will you withdraw that motion?
I withdraw that motion, yes.
And trustee Queenie, do you agree with withdrawing that motion in your second?
Yes, I believe.
I
that's our
will
policy.
withdraw that motion as long as I can send that to you and you can have some form of it. Is okay, Michelle?
Yeah, we're amending the motion to go back to the policy
Yes.
committee.
Okay.
And then, I believe it was trustee Garcia made a motion to approve, and it was seconded by trustee Lee. Do you agree with withdrawing your motion to approve?
Yes.
Do you agree with withdrawing your second to that motion, trustee Lee?
Yes.
Pardon?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Who's
So
on
the-
first? What's on second? I don't know.
So the motion on,
It's
just to be
going-
clear, the
yes.
motion on the table is to bring this policy
We're-
back to the
we're gonna-
policy
we're gonna
committee.
Yes.
postpone
Okay,
it
just so
and
we're
bring it
all,
back-
because that
we're
was a
gonna Postpone the
lot.
matter until the policy committee has a chance to review and brings it back to the board.
We
So
will go
the
ahead.
motion was to postpone it to the next meeting, which is in August, for approval with the understanding that the policy committee will review it in the meantime.
Yes.
Yep. Correct.
Whatever he said.
Yeah, what he
We'll-
said.
We'll take into account the suggestions and go from there, knowing that it might not be exactly the same.
Gotcha. That's why you guys are in charge of policy, and I appreciate that, so. Okay,
Ready to
we're
vote?
ready. Yep.
Okay. Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia again?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 3.9, Board of Trustee approval of budget fiscal year 2025. Motion to suspend rules temporary to allow for public comment on the fiscal year 2025 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Am I allowed to make public comment at this time?
We're suspending the rules for public comment now. Okay. Okay. We're voting on that, right?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia again?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes. And public comments.
As a trustee, I submitted 23 concerns of the budget. I got an email that said that the president and the chair were going to get back to me with regards to answering my questions. I got nothing. I feel a big red flag was raised, and I'm wondering about transparency and what are we hiding? And that's what I'll leave it at.
Any other public comments?
I noticed on the budget, I don't have it in front of me, but if anybody's looked at it, there's a line item for the president's cabinet of $150,000. If we give him $150,000 over, that when I looked back at Dr. Mitchell, our previous president's contracts, she was only allowed $10,000 in that category. And so I didn't send an email with any questions, but it does kind of concern me that we're allowing Dr. Namu almost $500,000 in basically a general fund over the course of his 3-year contract, where we had never previously allotted that kind of money to any other president since I've been here. And I didn't go back past Judy Mitchell, but I looked at all of the years that from the financial budgets that I've had since I was on this board, and went on the website and looked back a few more. And from what I can tell, we have never given that type of money and a line item to a president. And so I also have some concerns about transparency, where that money is going, what it's needed for. And due to my car accident situation, I'm sorry I didn't get to send my questions and my emails, but I also do have some concerns, especially since the president thinks we're rich. Giving him $500,000 over the course of 3 years to just spend how he wants, concerning to me.
Thank you. I would like to share a public comment to highlight some of the things in the budget for FY25. One of the things that you all will notice once you have this information is that this is the 52nd year that we have a balanced operating budget at the college, as well as this year we're not going to have a tuition rate increase. And there's also a 1.5 enrollment growth. In terms of transparency, That's key for the college. All of the key information that we need in order to feel that the college is being transparent is in the book. And I do encourage you to read it and ask additional questions if needed in a timely manner. Thank you.
I have one other comment, as far as we didn't have to increase the tuition, but last year we did. But since we're rich, should we take a look at lowering our tuition rates then?
And that was one of the questions I
Wait,
asked.
we can't have discussion. This is public comment. No discussion.
I have a comment.
Just a comment. She made a comment.
Made a comment. I had asked the same question because I was concerned about the amount of money that's in the budget. And as was stated, the budget may be balanced, but you can manage the numbers to balance it. If it's truly balanced, I want to see expenses reduced and I want to see income increased. And I haven't seen that.
Thank you.
In regards to responding to a trustee's email, when a trustee,
We can't
No, this is
respond.
public
This is
Okay.
Public comments only.
got it. Thank you.
Sorry. Any other public comments?
No.
Chair seeks a motion to return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Harris?
I'm sorry, back to regular session.
That was public comments.
Oh, this is to come back,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 3.9.3, the President's request approval of the administrative recommendation for the fiscal year 2025 budget.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Karen, can you call the vote, please?
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
No.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 4.11, this was the second read of the board policy that we sent back, so.
It's in
Right.
consent.
4.2, approval to transfer $500 to the student trustee travel funds from trustee Budzinski's account to cover the estimated final fiscal year coverage or overage.
That's impossible to do since your account is in the negative. You're $411 in the negative. If the numbers were moved correctly, you are $411 short. And as we had to do it last time,
There's been no motion yet?
oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second.
If I may speak to that. At last month's meeting, when the motion was made for this, it was, according to the minutes, it was a motion to amend the item to approve transfer of $500 to the student trustee travel fund from the general trustee development fund to cover the estimated final year overage. There is no general trustee development fund.
It's the line item. It's the line item of 550000, which had the 60,000, which is now down to 18,000. That's the fund, because if you look at where the accounts are right now, trustee Budzinski's at a negative 400.81. Trustee Harris is at 3290. Michelle Lee's at 3470. The ACCT count is in a negative 899.71, and the trustee was in a negative $21.52. There were no allocations set up at all voted by the board. The board just voted for the budget again with 52,000 now, it went down. And there is no allocations for this person to have this amount, this one to have that amount. It's all line item. What you showed us in your email was your general ledger. It was done internally. That had nothing to do with board approval. So that doesn't mean anything to the board, and it shouldn't mean anything to the board. The line item is what was approved. That's what should be used. And the line item is out of the 91111, out of the 550000 account.
I was only stating that the motion as stated, there is
I
no
understand.
fund by that name.
Well, it's the trustee development fund, whatever you want to call it, then we should have made a correction to it. The trustee meeting development one. And I will ask, why do we need $500 more?
We went over this in the last meeting, it's because he knew he came in with no budget because of the term of the student trustee is different than the fiscal budget.
But if the ending date is June 30th, and we just gave $500, and if I look at our book of what is in that account, or that allocation that's supposed, I am looking at $233.02. So if we only have so many days left, why would there be a need to add $500 to the account? And I'm looking at, if you're gonna give to the student trustee, I don't get any consideration, even though under.
You did get consideration. We voted in the April meeting
No, no,
not
no,
to give
no,
you,
no, no.
no, stop. You just said you don't get any consideration. I'm telling you, consideration was a board vote back in April. That was your consideration and time for comments on it. That part is over with. We are talking about the motion on the table, which is the $500.
I move the previous question.
Is there a second?
Second.
You need to do a vote on the motion to end debate and vote on the pending motion. This is another motion.
Okay, so Jake moved it, who seconded it?
Second?
Alicia.
Alicia
Yeah, trustee.
seconded? And that was to end debate?
So does the motion stand as is? Or
Yes.
does it get corrected to,
As it is, it stands as is, as
so it's
stated.
coming out of Budzinski's negative account? That's my understanding then. Because there's $400.81 negative.
I don't know what you're referring to, so
I'm looking at, if I take the ACC bills that should not have been put on the ACCT, they should have been reversed onto him personally. That's how it should have been. This accounting measure that's been done is not correct.
What's in our board book shows
Well-
a balance of 2,558.71
It's
for
wrong.
Chairman Budzinski.
It's wrong. If you look, Alicia, at the numbers.
Wait, we've already had the motion to end the discussion.
yes.
And he does not have a negative balance, it's positive.
We're ready to vote.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Garcia Gann?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now there's a vote on the motion.
There's what?
Now is the vote on motion related to 4.2, the approval. That was the motion to end the debate. Now this is the motion to approve
Oh.
4.2.
So moved?
Second?
It's already
It's
been
already
moved and seconded.
Okay.
We just need to
Time
vote.
for
Oh,
the
we just
vote.
need a roll call, sorry.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Gann?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
No.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
4.3, I make a motion to table 4.3 and 4.4.
Second.
Vote.
Can you offer a reason?
Pardon me?
To bring a motion to table, you need to offer a reason.
I don't have to give a reason. You told me when you table, you don't have to give a reason.
Under Robert's Rules of Order, you need to offer a reason.
I don't want to offer a reason. I want it tabled.
Okay.
Fair enough.
When I asked that before, Brian, at my meeting, when the other items were being tabled, you told me I couldn't ask for anything. I'm doing the same thing.
Okay.
So
So-
this motion is to whether or not we table 4.3.
Got it.
And 4.4.
No, 4.3.
4.3 and
She
4.4 is
said
what I said.
4.3 and 4.4.
Okay.
Can you put them both together?
Yes,
And this is to table it.
correct.
Okay. Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Gann?
No.
Trustee Harris?
I didn't know we were putting them together. It's too late to,
They are put together, correct.
okay. Table, yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
No.
Trustee Queenie?
No.
Trustee Bazinski?
No.
So, motion to table. We have,
Passes. 4-3.
yeah, 4-3. Okay, so motion
Passes.
passes. Motion carries. So we table it.
So it's tabled 4-1-3, 4-4 table.
And there will be a motion in August to pull them back from the table, correct?
If it's made, yes.
Okay. Item 5.1, the student trustee report.
Good evening, everybody. So, welcome back. This is the second trustee report I'll be giving for the June meeting. My name again is Ryan Queenie. My pronouns are they, them. And again, thank you everyone for being here, and thank you all for being here in the audience tonight. Much appreciated. So first, I have 3 topics tonight. I'll start with the first one, my student trustee project. I've kind of got an idea of where I want to go with it. And I want to share that with this board so that we can all work together on it. And I'm hoping that I know lots of you have experience working with ICCTA and CCBA and ACCT. I'm hoping that I can be in touch and talking with you about all that experience when we're looking at bachelorette degrees, because that is where I'm going to be pushing my project for community college bachelor's degrees. And why bachelor's degrees at community colleges? Well, educational deserts are a massive part of it. It's something we heard about at ICCTA at the president's reception, talking about most students, and especially here at JJC, live 40 plus miles from a 4-year public institution. So I know that's, for me, 50 minutes in the car every day to Governor's State if I go there for my bachelorette. And then also providing equitable educational opportunities for our students here on campus. And I think this is really something we can really push, having the HSI designation just coming through and then being reaccredited by the Higher Learning Commission. It's going to help push our minority students to succeed, and also push our first-generation college students to succeed, because they'll have that opportunity for bachelorette degrees within their local communities. And then, of course, addressing the workforce needs in the community. I mean, we all see it every day. There is just unemployment numbers going up. A lot of people are looking for jobs, and the job qualifications are really starting to get up there for some positions. I think in the future, we're going to see a lot more bachelorette degree positions for students, and it's going to be more difficult for those associate degree students. So I want to make sure we're preparing those students, especially in some of those fields that like nursing, education, cybersecurity. Those are all amazing areas that we're going to need to push the workforce need. I know we talked about in Springfield, the educational deficit, where they need more teachers than community colleges are graduating, and even 4 years are graduating right now. So before the next meeting in August, I have plans to do research, to begin drafting a survey, and to begin working on my IRB application to be able to distribute that survey across the campus to our students, to kind of get an understanding of, okay, what bachelor degrees fields are JJC students looking for? And I'm hoping I'll have a very exciting update for you September, maybe October, with some preliminary survey results just from seeing what people are starting to say, if we can get it out soon, hopefully. So then my next thing is, this is my favorite part of my report, recent campus and community events. And there wasn't too much going on this month because it's June, it's summer, everybody's kind of relaxing, but there still was the ICCTA annual president's meeting and reception. And congratulations again to Maureen for your, was it 20 years of service on that? Or
What?
how many years? 20 years of service on the ICCTA, I believe?
I've been 9 years.
9 years, I'm so sorry. 9
It's
years,
okay.
but congratulations, and I wish you all the well stepping down from that, and
July
hopefully,
1st.
hopefully less headaches for you not having so many things with that.
Thank you.
And then, of course, that was a wonderful event. Again, we got to hear about community college transfer programs when we went. We also heard about bachelorette degree programs, and I, of course, didn't attend the second day, but I know that from what I heard from Maureen, that it was really wonderful, and the big focus that they're really pushing is the students, and how are we supporting our students both personally, academically, professionally. So then, yes. And then, of course, I attended the ABBA Juneteenth CEO Celebration and Awards Gala, which was just a fantastic event, which really highlighted some amazing things going on in our community, some amazing businesses opening up, and it was just really a great night to celebrate how far the community in Joliet has come along, and the African American Business Association, how much they've expanded and been able to grow. And congratulations to Dr. Farmer for your years of service on the board, and thank you for helping put that event together. It was just so beautiful. And of course, the Morris State of the City, which was another wonderful event around the community where we got to hear about some wonderful things Morris is doing to grow their city, some wonderful partnerships JJC and Morris are working towards, because I know you kind of spoke at the meeting, Dr. Namuo. And it was really wonderful to just see that we have those awesome connections with our local communities through our administration, through our college, and we're really getting involved in those areas. And of course, then also congratulations again to our higher ed and adult education graduates. This year was the 40th anniversary of that ceremony they've held on campus. And I think, I wasn't able to attend. I was supposed to attend. I was very sad I couldn't, but I know Brenton actually was one of the speakers that night. So thank you again for speaking. And yeah, and of course, then I had one more event I attended today, which didn't make it, but sustainability is always doing amazing things around campus. Today, they were actually just doing a fun craft event for the students to help de-stress, get ready for finals coming up in the week. I know many students will be taking their finals tomorrow, and many have already started. So they did a build your own terrarium where you took rocks, dirt, and just some JJC nature and wildlife from the nature areas, and you just made a little terrarium. I have one behind my desk that I can show everybody in a little bit too. So this next part brings me to address, and I pictures, sorry. Pictures, yes. So of course the State of the City for Morris, where Dr. Mo's wife was able to attend, thank you. Trustee Harris, Kelly Rodertinelli was able to attend, and Trustee Broderick, Dr. Namuo, the mayor, of course he was there. And then, yes, it was wonderful. And again, congratulations to you, Maureen. What did you do with the banner?
Well, I have it. Everybody signed it, which was really cool with a cool note. So
Very
it's my
nice.
memory to keep.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So this brings me to my next part, which I joined this board, as many of you know, back in April. And since joining, I've had trainings about leadership, and I've read some books about how trustees conduct themselves and how we operate as a board. And since reading those, I have some things I really want to share with this board and the college, some quotes from the Trustee Leadership in Community Colleges in Chapter 6 by Pam Fisher. So the first one I wanted to share was effective trustees express goodwill and civility, communicate openly, and cooperate with other board members. They are courteous, open-minded, and treat others with decency and respect. They create a positive environment by using non-inflammatory language and avoiding personal attacks. And the second part I wanted to share from Pam Fisher was trustees recognize their difference between their policy role and the roles of the college staff. Problems occur when trustees try to second guess the staff or direct day-to-day operations. And I really want to share these with the board here because these are where I'm seeing the most inconsistencies between my training and what I'm seeing with the college board here. I think that a major thing for me is I don't want us to be raising our voices at the table, at the diocese, in the closed sessions. We have to remember to keep a level head and be calm if we're going to work effectively. The other thing I really want to call to is making sure we're not having any personal attacks, and we're making sure we're talking to everybody in a kind, courteous way that shows that we're respectful of each other's opinions. We don't have to vote the same, but we have to be a unanimous board and agree with the decisions that the board has made once they've been made. And then, of course, my second quote about, making sure we're not we're a policy governance board. We should focus on the policy and make sure we're in the interest of the students. I think if we're expanding outside of that, we're not doing the best interest of the students. So with that, I do want to say I'm still so excited to be here. You have no idea how much great work we're all going to do together. I'm thrilled for what we can do together. I know we're all capable of greatness. And I think I want to share something I heard at it was either, I think, the Juneteenth Awards Gala, where they talked about people work to lift each other up. I think as this board, we can all lift each other up and do wonderful things for this campus and this community. So I thank you all for your time again. And I hope that you all have a wonderful night. And I really am looking forward to our retreat in July and then meeting again in August with all of you. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ryan.
Item 5.2, representative to the JJC Foundation, Christy Mulvey.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, trustees. I just have a few quick things.
We're in a great space for our JJC Foundation Athletic Golf Outing. I'm pleased to say that we're sold out, so I appreciate anybody who's signed up to golf. We've got a full house and we're excited about that event on July 12th. If you still want to participate and support scholarships for students and the athletic programs, you can do one of the ball drops that we're going to do for $100, and Karen Rezick can send that out to you this week. But thank you for those who have signed up to golf. And then, as you know, our office has been very busy. Once the grades were posted and put in the system, we have been scoring scholarship applications. So as always, our goal is to get all the money on the student's account before the first drop date, which is at the end of July. My team has done a great job with reviewing all of them. As you know, each application has to be reviewed completely by 3 separate people and scored. And we definitely had an increase of scholarship applications this year. When you give $1 million worth of scholarships away, that's a lot of scholarship applications and a lot of money to be dispersed. So I'm very proud of my team. I want to thank them publicly, and I think we're gonna promise to get those funds onto the student accounts. That's the end of my report for tonight.
Thank you. Item 5.3, representative to the ICCTA, ACCT.
All right, again, due to the car accident one I was in, I did not make it to the awards ceremony, but I arrived late Friday night to attend the Saturday meeting. Maureen, would you like to talk about the awards ceremony as you were the outgoing president and you were there?
Sure. We had over 300 attendees at this, which was a phenomenal attendance. We had Dr. Brian Durham there from the ICCB, as well as Dr. Laz Lopez, who is the ICCB chair, and Brian Durham is the CEO. We also were greeted with Ji Hang Lee, the ACCT CEO, who this was his 3rd time attending and gave a wonderful welcoming speech to all of us, and he loves Illinois. Illinois is one of his best states, he said. We had lots of awards. Business and Industry Partnership had 11. Equity and Diversity Award had 4. And we had our dear Escartina involved in that one. She was a consideration in that. We had the Gary W. Davis Ethical Leadership Award for 2. We had the Gandhi King Scholarship, which we had 2. We had the G.G. Campbell Student Trustee Excellence Scholarship, and that was 8 people. And we had our student trustee nominated in that. We had the Paul Simon Student Essay, and we had 4 in that. We had the Greg Chadwick Student Service School Award Scholarship, and that we had 2. We had the Lifelong Learning Award, we had 2. We had the Pace Setter Award for 5, and one of them was our candidate, Michael Taylor. We had the 2024 Distinguished Alumnus Award and adjunct. We had 8 of those, and that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was Charlotte Garabrandt. Is that how we say it? Garabrandt. And then we had the full-time faculty member. We had 14 of those, so there was a lot of people in there. And Dr. Jeff Bradford was one of the considerations. And it was an excellent night. We had and it was we had the presidential luncheon, the presidential cocktail hour, which I think everybody enjoyed. Got to meet and network with everybody. It was really enjoying. We missed you, Michelle, because she likes to network too. It was really a great evening, and that's it for that.
You forgot to mention that you received 2 awards.
No, those are next. Those are the next.
Okay.
The next day.
Oh yes, at our ICCB meeting. So at the ICCT representative meeting, we had the transferring of the gavel from Trustee Broderick to Wayne Dunning, where she received 2 awards. One was for Certificate of Recognition, President of the Illinois Community College of Trustees Association, and the other is a Certificate of Appreciation. One is from the ICCB and the other is from the ICCTA. We also had our legislative update from our ICCTA liaison, where she went over the legislative initiatives, which were protecting local control of community colleges, protecting student borrowing using MAP funds, equity in higher education, equitable funding for community college operations, community colleges offering baccalaureate degrees, and preparing Illinois' future workers for the workforce. Jim Reed also gave an update on member engagement and the 10 colleges he visited during the last quarter, which is amazing. He's visiting that many colleges, as well as concerns and resolutions for the Business Enterprise Program, which is to provide contracting opportunities for companies owned by minorities, women, veterans, and the disabled. Diane, do you have anything to add, as you're the alternate and we're also at the awards night and in attendance of the meeting?
No, just thank you to anyone who submitted nominations. We appreciate that. And I think that's probably about it. Yeah, just thank you if you submitted something. We had quite a few to go through. Everybody was great candidates, but of course, there's only one that can be chosen. But we do thank you for your time if you did send some in.
And just one more date, 6/3 of '24 is the deadline for the ACCT award nominees.
6-3 or 7-3, because 6-3's already passed.
Pardon me?
I said 6-3 or 7-3.
Oh, pardon me, you're right, duh.
I was gonna say.
Sorry, I'm thinking, July, sorry. Wrong date, disregard.
That it?
Thanks, Jake.
Moving on to item 5.4.
I was like, oh, I missed that one.
Trustee updates. We'll start on this side.
No updates from me right now, just looking forward to July, looking forward to our retreat coming up on the I don't remember the day off the top of my head right now, but looking forward to that and looking forward to a wonderful year with everybody. So
Thank you. Trustee Mahalik.
I have no serious updates, but I want to embarrass my 3-year-old son, who is finally sitting on the potty and using it. Thank you, guys. So that's all I have. Lighten the mood a little bit. So.
Trustee Garcia.
No updates at this time, thank you.
Trustee Morales.
Not an update, but just in our packet this month, we did receive the trustee quarterly, which I think is what student trustee Ryan brought up earlier. And right in the middle of it is a section on page 25, and it's an editorial from Camila Fisher, who was our facilitator last July during our retreat. And her goal was to help this board come together with less disruption. So I don't know that anything will change at this next July. I hope it does, at this next retreat. But it was a very interesting article, and I hope if you all have a chance to read it, please take a look at it. Thank you.
Trustee Broderick.
Well, I did mention that I went to the College of Lake County last night, and I found it really interesting, a couple of things. Their meeting was an hour and a half, which I was really impressed with how fast they did their monthly meeting. They do a committee of the whole meeting quarterly, and I brought that up before, and they said it's really successful because things get done. The reports of everything is done in committee of the wholes, where you're just basically approving, and you're moving along, where you're not sitting here and 3-4 hours at the night. So I am still recommending that we look at committee of a whole. And they also, when you walk in, besides giving you the agenda, they give you the whole package. I got the whole package of the meeting, which I thought was very beneficial as a person sitting there I stayed for the whole meeting just to listen to how they did it. And I thought this was very good to listen to and to have it in hands, because I was able to look at what the trustees were questioning without any problem. And I don't know if there is any restriction at all. And then the other thing that I did notice, and Brian, I'll share this with you, is they do the closed meeting minutes every month, because that's what they're allowed to do, and that's what their legal representation says they're allowed to do. So instead of us waiting 6 months, they see it every month. It's not in this packet because it's not entitled for them to show it, but they do get it. And then the only last thing I want to do is clarification, because of course their counsel was up there, which was Robin Schwartz, and we did approve last month new legal. Is there some confusion that we need to do or clear up on that? Because
The motion last month was to approve additional legal counsel. It was not defined who that legal counsel would be. It was not defined how we would use them. The board never came to any agreement on who it would be or how we would use them.
well, I think we did discuss it as the board. And I
The
thought,
discussion isn't, the motion did not specifically say who the attorney would be or how we would use them. All we voted for in the last meeting was approval of additional counsel.
But I think
So if we approval of additional counsel, however, we had them here for an interview and they were in the audience that night. And we were all under the impression that we were voting, am I wrong that we were all under the impression that we were voting for Robin Schwartz to attain them as additional legal counsel? And I believe it was Trustee Morales who specifically over and over repeated that we were hiring them to relook at the Title IX issue. So I don't think that if you go back and you listen to the meeting, that you can actually say that it was ambiguous or we didn't know who we were voting for or why. Now, if you want to try to manipulate the situation to be that, that's fine. But in my opinion, you are not acting as a chair should act when this board made a decision that is in this meeting minutes, and you are using a very shrewd way of one word. When we had them here, we knew who we were voting for. They were in the audience. We had hours of discussion on this topic of whether or not we were going to vote to retain them. And this board voted to retain Robin Schwartz, whether or not that was named. And I believe you are very well aware of that. And you're using this as a way to not retain legal counsel, which we agreed that we would like a second opinion on certain things. And here you are stonewalling the situation.
I'm not
along
stonewalling
with
anything. The motion was to bring on additional legal counsel. It did not specify who or how we would use them. There's no agreement on how we would use them.
I think we did discuss it in closed
We
session.
discussed a lot of things in closed
You're
session. None of that is in the
stonewalling.
meeting, though.
I have, I'd like to say something. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but I recently learned that the legal team that was here last month also represents a high-level employee of this college, and that would be a conflict of interest. Is that correct?
That's been addressed.
I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
I don't know who was here from Robin Schwartz last month.
Several members of their law
But there is someone on staff here who is represented by an attorney from that firm, and a waiver of conflicts was signed.
And that attorney is no longer with the firm.
Okay.
And I do know that, I've understood from last night, a letter of engagement was sent to Dr. Namuo. So we made them come to our special meeting. They spoke to us.
No, she made them come to our special meeting. The
We-
board never voted to
we-
have them come.
We did it.
We did not.
We did. We were all here.
We did not. You guys did that on your own. We did not invite them. There was never an agreement by this board to bring anyone in for an interview.
Because the executive committee is sitting here with Brian Copeman, who I have said over and over and over for months that I do not feel represented by this man, and that it has fallen on deaf ears. And finally, so yes, I called a special meeting, and I had the consensus of this board that they were in agreement that they would like to hire another attorney, and it says it to itself in the vote that this board did approve another attorney, an additional attorney to the law firm that was sitting in the office that came, but not just to the special meeting, but also to our following meeting where there was a motion to move the first motion that you had, and that's another manipulation. It was written and motioned properly in the special meeting. It was you who wanted to move it to the regular board meeting because you were so upset that I invited a lawyer here because I, as a trustee, have every equal right as you, every single equal right as you, and you have been shutting me down to bring all types of things to this board's attention. Period. You have been shutting me down. You have and so is the lawyer. I do not feel represented by Brian Copeman at all, and neither do other trustees on this board. So while you sit in a room and you work with Brian on all of these things, where he does not call any of the other board members to tell us about pertinent legal issues, and then makes decisions that are detrimental to this college, but nobody wants to speak about that. The only thing everybody wants to speak about is Michelle calling them out for their bad behavior.
Is this your trustee update, or are you done?
No, it's not even my trustee update. It was a comment
Okay, do your
to
trustee
that.
update so we can move on. We've heard all this
You got
before.
2 things. Read it. Read it.
My trustee update, according to 760 ILCS 3-7, each trustee who is not excluded from the fiduciary under section 808 shall exercise reasonable care to compel co-trustees to redress serious breach of trust It has been a serious breach of trust. The other one is to prevent a co-trustee from committing a serious breach of trust, but we have committed a serious breach of trust. If you will go back to the student policy where we were talking about whether or not we should offer a student tuition waiver, and when we all decided that that policy was okay, the reason that we decided that was because you cannot be a student trustee without first being a student. And I would like to say that after talking to legal counsel, because I have had to go try to find extra legal counsel because I don't feel represented by ours, but after talking to legal counsel, I am positive that what we have been doing to Maureen is wrong under Illinois state law, as she cannot be the president of the ICCTA without first being a JJC trustee. And it is in my opinion that I move to reconsider the vote on the motion relating to the approval to provide financial support for registration and travel expenses for in-state of ICCTA events through June 30th, 2024, with such support not to exceed current ICCTA trustee organizational travel usage budget amount. And I also move to reconsider the vote on the motion.
Make a move. You're on your
Okay.
trustee updates.
So I have to say this for the record, because if this goes any further from what it already has, because we don't want to listen to Maureen, I am going to be absolved from that vote. So I would also, if I would like to move to reconsider that and have that added to the August agenda so that we all can decide whether or not we would like to reconsider that vote, as I believe it is against Illinois state law to have done that to her, and it is prohibiting for her from doing her fiduciary duties. There was another action that we voted on, and I also moved to reconsider the vote on the motion relating to the approval to provide trustee Broadwick with additional travel funds, the additional amount to be divided equally from each other elected trustees' travel budgets to first cover trustee Broderick's current overage of $188.27 plus any remainder to be used for the registration at community engagements events or reimburse travel incurred after 2/14/24.
Thank you for your update. Trustee Harris.
Those were motions.
You can't make a motion to reconsider an item that was decided at the prior meeting. You can only make a motion to reconsider an item that was considered at the current meeting.
It says at a later meeting that you could do it.
I'm just telling you what Robert's rules provides.
That's what I was looking at, was
I am
Robert's rules.
requesting that both of those motions be added to the August agenda. I would personally like to revote so that I am not culpable for anything going forward, because we were wrong.
Page 306 and 307 in the book of Robert's rules addresses it.
Those are my requests to have those
Trustee Harris,
motions
do you have
added
any
to the
updates?
agenda.
Yes, just a couple of things I'd like to say. This week or last week, the committee for the J.D. Ross Extraordinary Award met, and I'm happy to say we did choose someone, but it won't be announced. It's a secret, so Kelly will let us know when we'll announce the name. But we had several good candidates, and I was happy to be on that committee. And also, I did receive an award from the ICCTA for working on their awards committee. So maybe I'm getting good at this. But, and I also want to thank the board and Dr. Newell and for allowing me to attend some of the community events, especially if the budget was kind of scarce, but I appreciate being able to attend. And I want to echo what Alicia and, Trustee Morales and Trustee Queenie said. We did receive this book in the mail, and I would suggest that all of our trustees take a look at it. It is on page 24 through 26, and it gives some good pointers, and hopefully, we can kind of come together. So, that's all I have. Yeah, that's it.
At this point, we're moving to closed session number 2, requesting a motion to go into a closed session for discussion under 2C11 legal and 2C1 personnel. I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Are you gonna waive the chair report, I'm assuming then?
Yes, there'll be no chair report. He spoke enough tonight.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Yes.
Trustee Lee?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion to return to public session?
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Morales?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia Guillen?
Yes.
Trustee Broderick?
Aye.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Mahalik?
Yes.
Trustee Queenie?
Yes.
Trustee Bazinski?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We're adjourned, 9:58.